Gathering Darkness,
Yeah,
aka the book where I get even more in love with Magnus.
This is the latest book in Morgan Rhodes's, I don't know what you call 6 books, but there's going to be 6 of them.
Sextet?
Sextet?
There are 6!
Anyways, and a prequel, so.
Yay!
Or like a side companion book, I don't know.
I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Gathering Darkness picks up where the last book left off. Yay! So Magnus and Cleo are still like, hey, we don't really like each other, but we kind of like each other, and yes.
And Cleo has a very rocky friendship with Magnus's younger sister,
Lucia. And they start to become friends. Like, Cleo actually starts to like Lucia, and Lucia's like, oh, I think I can trust her. And Lucia is exploring her magic. Jonas is reeling because he
has to basically 2 of his close rebel people have been kidnapped and they're being held in the capital, and he has to rescue them, and he doesn't know if he can, and he ends up meeting this guy named Felix, who's just like, yeah, I can help you. Felix reminded me of Murtaugh.
Jonas is like, well, I don't really have any choice, and, you know, Felix proves himself, like, he's never betrayed Jonas, he's had a lot of opportunities, and so they're plotting to get Alexandra
and a young rebel, like, he's very young, he's like 14.
Out. Alexandra has
been reunited with her brother, who's been in jail. And her brother's been having dreams of a Watcher.
And the Watcher has not shown up in a very, very long while. Because...
He died in the previous
Yeah. There is also the... I want to call them the Kardashians.
Okay, so they're these 2 siblings from the super, super crazy rich, extremely powerful country on the other side of the sea, which I kept thinking was in the same world as the Young Elites. That's basically, like, in my mind, they're from there. They're from there, and they've come over, and they have an agenda. They might not have the same agenda, but they have an agenda.
One of them is a guy. He's kind of, like, flirting with Neil.
One of them is a girl, and she's kind of sleeping with Magnus.
There's that one time. Somebody's sleeping with Magnus, huh?
Oh man, that's like the best scene ever. Cleo's like, I'm gonna finally confront him. Did you sleep with him?
I'm just gonna keep calling them the Kardashians.
Okay,
because
you call them the Kardashians.
They make a lot of sense.
Keeping
as
up with
Kardashians.
the Kardashians.
Yes.
So basically, the other thing going on is Lucia's Watcher guy, Alexiel. It's the same as my name, Alexis. It's
Alexius.
He shows up to teach her how to use magic better.
And he is under the control of the evil witch Millennia.
Yay! Who has her own agenda, because everybody in this book has an agenda.
So they're trying to bring the kindred back. They eventually figure out how to bring the kindred back.
So we have to, like, wake them up.
So Cleo manages to spirit away 2 of them, 2 of the kindred, as they bring them back. But they also kind of figure out that she was working against them. What else happens? Jonas gets his friends out of jail with the help of Felix.
He basically runs around and spirits away the kindred for
Cleo. Except then he's like, oh, I don't trust you, Felix. And Felix is like, well, sucks to be you, because I was actually trustworthy, so I'm just going to take this one kindred and run away.
So, you know, he'll probably come back, like, book 5.
Yeah.
Save everybody's butt.
Lucia has been taking the long path down to madness.
Yep.
Madness Town.
Kind of realizes that everyone is using her. Everyone. She finds out that her mother was poisoning her and keeping her asleep, so she kills her mother. She finds out that her father
Well,
is...
she didn't kill her mother.
Oh, somebody else kills her mother. Finds out that her father is kind of using her, and she's like, oh, you know, he's only ever been nice to me. Oh, he's using me.
Then she finds out that Alexius is actually kind of betrayed her, even though he really loves her and didn't want to.
And her brother, their relationship's been screwed up for a while, and Cleo's been using her, so absolutely everyone.
And it's a good descent into to darkness. It makes sense.
It's a very good innocent destroyed.
Turns out that there is a fire god that they wanted to really
Because, okay, the kindred guys, they aren't stones guys. They're gods trapped in stones. What?
Well,
and so
that complicates everything.
So basically, that's what we were talking about, like, these books, and I wanted to always ask Morgan Rhodes, what's it like to make, like, a society, like, basic rule for your quest? Like, you are going to go and find X, and then at some point completely just turn the tables on everybody. Just being like, oh yeah, guess what? Ha ha ha, all that mythology that you thought you knew, it's actually not true. It's a cover story. How does that make you feel? Oh, you know what? There was kind of, like, clues to it scattered throughout the books, but...
There you go.
So yeah, so Lucia, with nothing left to lose, the fire god's like, hey, you want to help me destroy the world? And she's just like, sure. Not much else I can do.
Yeah. I got time.
And so yeah, that's how her story ends in this book, and I'm just like, you can't leave me like this.
Jonas is just kind of like, oh, fuck.
I think I'm kind of in love with Alexandra, but I'm still kind of attracted to Cleo.
I'll just go with the one that's closest. Hey, Alexandra!
Oh, boy.
That's funny. And then Magnus and Cleo finally...
Talk about Magnus and Cleo?
Yeah.
Can we talk about Magnus and Cleo? Okay, so I absolutely adore Magnus, and I don't know why, but I do. I just like the whole... I like his backstory because you can kind of see why he is the way he is. Like, just how controlled he has to keep himself, because basically his father's been, like, mind-screwing him his entire life. Completely. And, you know, the whole being in love with his sister thing, now being in this marriage that he doesn't want to be in, and he's like, you know, I wish I could actually, like, talk to Cleo like she was a human being, but I can't, because then I'd be betraying my father, and I have really weird mixed feelings towards my father, because I really want to impress him, but I kind of hate him at the same time, because he's just been telling me lies, and oh my god, I'm not actually related to my sister, but she hates me because I'm still into her, because she still thinks it's wrong. And who's this watcher guy who's now hitting on my sister? I can't let them be alone together. Like, you're just watching his brain, just like, ugh. And then, so, like, Cleo and Magnus chase after his sister. They end up back in the his home country because his sister's run off to elope with the Watcher. And they're staying in this house, and they're in this room, and they're basically just arguing, just like, I'll never like you, you're an asshole, you're a bitch, you're fake, you're an asshole, just like, you know, getting in each other's faces, and then just bam! They start making out. And I'm just like, finally!
Thank you!
I've been waiting 3 books! Yes! And then they get interrupted. And I'm like, no! No! And then, of course, as the book ends, he's just like, I did the one thing that I promised I wouldn't do. I fell in love with Cleo. And I'm just like, I'm such a suck.
You're kind of like, finally, but now I have to wait to see how this relationship plays out.
I hate it. And I mean, I like what he says to her, because he's like, I don't hate you. And she's like, what do you mean you don't hate me? And he's like, you're like the only light in my life at this point, because, you know, your life has sucked. You've lost everything, yet here you are, surrounded by a bunch of people who you hate and hate you, but you keep fighting. And how crazy is that? And I'm just like, see? He respects you for what you are. This is a proper relationship.
Thank God.
This isn't the... You're just, like, really hot. And I kind of like that.
Kind of,
So I'm kind of... I want to see how Cleo's side develops, because, like...
Is she in love with him?
Is she in love with him? I mean, he killed her first love.
Is she still in love with Jonas?
I don't think she'll ever end up with Jonas.
I don't think so either, but she could think she's in love with him.
Yeah.
They made out that a couple of times.
Yeah. He likes to make out with her. She's just like, why did we do that again? Do you like my impersonations of these characters?
I think I do.
I could do like a whole theater of this.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what I do for Gaius, though. I am King Gaius!
That just makes me think, marriage! Wings ass! We haven't spoiled everything, I swear to God. There's stuff we left out because...
Reasons.
But yeah, the Kardashians make their bid for one of the kindred. Kills one of the Kardashians, the male. I can't remember his name, I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, I forgot he dies.
Yeah. And
I forgot he dies. I'm like, I can't wait to see Nick and his relationship develop. Oh yeah, right.
yeah, he kicked the bucket. So unless he's into necrophilia.
Now, okay, I feel bad for Nick though, because now he's in a very weird situation, because he's always been in love with Cleo, and in comes this prince, and they have all this chemistry, and they make out a few times, and they kind of are into each other, and so now here's Nick just being like, everything I've known about myself, I don't know who I am anymore. Because, like, his everything is falling apart for him. Like, his relationship with Cleo, seeing Cleo with Magnus, and Cleo being like, oh yeah, ha ha ha, we're not actually into each other, it's all a fake. His, like, reputation in the castle. Now, he always thought he was in love with Cleo, but he can love someone else. It's just like, he's a wild card.
I don't know. I feel like this hits everyone at some point. At some point in this book, everybody's like, well, I have to question everything I know now. Thanks for this. Just, I don't even know. Like, think about it. Magnus is at that point. Lucius,
Magnus has had that point in the very first book.
Yeah. But at some point, they're all like, well, I need to question everything. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my destiny?
How is this going to end? I do not see this ending well for anyone.
I don't see it ending well either.
She just, like, characters just die left, right, and center. Like, I don't think she's introducing enough characters to, like, keep up with her, like, her cannon fodder.
I don't know.
Like, we're averaging at least 3 people a book.
Okay.
We are like a George R. Martin here.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
If Magnus dies, I give up. If Cleo dies, I give up. That would be a big turn. It's just like, hey, you thought she was the main character? Bah! Rhodes out!
Drops the mic.
Come at me! Oh, I really hope she doesn't watch this.
Oh, anyways, this is going to take up a significant portion of the rest of our life, so we will end this here before we get too silly. Bye, guys.